When the Red Cross issues survival guidelines, it's not theory. It's because lives depend on them. Right now, global health officials admit this outbreak will be far worse than expected. Cities could lock down, stores could shut, and millions will be left scrambling for food. But you don't have to be one of them. The Red Cross has identified 15 items that give you the edge, the foods and supplies that keep you alive when everything else is gone. And today, I'm breaking them down for you one by one. Item 1. Rice. When chaos strikes, when shelves are stripped bare, when you can't risk stepping outside because every trip could expose you to danger, rice becomes survival itself. This humble grain isn't just food, it's the cornerstone of any serious stockpile, which is exactly why the Red Cross has emphasized it for decades. Think about what rice gives you: calorie density, versatility, and longevity. A single 50-pound bag can feed a family for weeks, even months. Stored properly in airtight containers away from moisture, rice can last for years without losing its value. And in a collapse, that's gold. Unlike fresh produce that rots in days, rice sits quietly in your pantry, waiting, ready to shield you from hunger. Why does it vanish so quickly when crisis hits? Because everyone knows rice is cheap, filling, and requires nothing but water to prepare. Families grab it by the cartload, leaving aisles stripped within hours of panic buying. And once it's gone, it's gone. Supply chains don't magically recover during shutdowns. It's also a morale saver. Combine rice with beans, canned fish, or even just a pinch of salt, and suddenly you've turned survival into something that feels like a meal. That matters when fear is suffocating and every day feels heavier than the last. Without rice, your food options shrink to scraps and overpriced substitutions that don't last. Here's the bottom line: if you don't have rice already, you're behind. Start now. Buy in bulk, store it smart, and rotate your stock. In the middle of a pandemic-driven collapse, rice won't just feed you, it will buy you time, stability, and a fighting chance at survival. Item 2. Peanut butter. At first glance, peanut butter might seem like comfort food, something for kids' lunches or late-night snacks. But in survival mode, peanut butter becomes a powerhouse resource that the Red Cross places high on its list of must-haves. Why? Because it combines three survival essentials in one jar: protein, healthy fats, and high calorie density. During a pandemic or collapse, when meat, eggs, and dairy are scarce or risky to obtain, peanut butter becomes a substitute that keeps your body fueled. Just 2 spoonfuls can deliver enough calories and fats to keep you moving for hours. And unlike other protein sources, it doesn't require refrigeration or cooking. That's critical when power grids fail or gas runs out. You can literally eat it straight from the jar and stay alive. Shelf life is another hidden advantage. A sealed jar can last for years, and even after opening, it stays safe to eat for weeks without refrigeration. That means peanut butter is not only an emergency food, but also a dependable one. You won't have to worry about it spoiling when you need it most. And let's not overlook the psychological edge. When stress is overwhelming and every day feels like survival, spreading peanut butter on bread or just eating a spoonful gives you a taste of normalcy. That small comfort can prevent despair, keeping morale steady when everything else feels uncertain. Here's the bottom line: peanut butter isn't just a snack, it's survival fuel. Stock it now. Buy multiple jars, rotate your stock, and choose natural or lower sugar versions when possible. Because in the middle of collapse, this simple spread might be the thing that keeps you strong, steady, and sane. Item 3. Canned beans. When collapse hits and power outages make cooking impossible, there's one food that stands above the rest: canned beans. They aren't glamorous, but they're one of the most practical, life-saving items the Red Cross urges families to keep in bulk. Why? Because they deliver what few foods can in a crisis: protein, fiber, minerals, and convenience, all packed in a metal can that lasts for years. Unlike meat or dairy, which spoil in days, canned beans stay shelf-stable, ready to eat at any time. You don't need a stove, clean water, or even electricity. Pop the lid and you've got a meal. That makes beans a survival weapon when supply chains fail and resources run out. A single can of black beans or chickpeas can fuel your body for hours, stabilizing energy levels and keeping your immune system strong when disease and exhaustion are all around. They're also incredibly versatile. Pair beans with rice, mix into soup, or eat straight with a little salt. You'll never feel like you're stuck eating the same meal. And in a crisis, that variety is a lifeline for morale. Food fatigue is real. Eating bland, repetitive meals destroys your will to keep going. Beans keep both your stomach and your spirit satisfied. Don't forget, canned goods vanish quickly when panic buying sets in. Recall after recall proves how fragile supply is, yet beans remain one of the cheapest, most reliable staples you can grab today. Here's your action step. Buy beans in bulk. Stock black, kidney, pinto, chickpeas, and rotate older cans to the front of your shelves. Because when the grid fails, beans won't just fill your belly, they'll keep you alive. Item 4, bread and flour or yeast. In every culture, in every crisis, bread has always been more than food. It's stability, routine, and comfort when the world outside is falling apart. During a pandemic or economic collapse, bread becomes a lifeline. That's why the Red Cross consistently stresses its importance, not just as a ready-to-eat staple, but as something you can create yourself if supply chains fail. The problem? Fresh bread vanishes from shelves within hours of panic buying. We've all seen it. Empty bakery racks, grocery carts stacked with loaves. And when it's gone, it's gone. Even if you manage to grab some, fresh bread lasts only a few days before molding. That's why smart survival planning doesn't stop at buying bread. It's about stockpiling flour and yeast. With just those two ingredients, plus water and salt, you can bake your own bread at home. This means independence from fragile supply chains and dangerous grocery runs. And in lockdown, when every trip outside could put you at risk, being able to make bread from scratch isn't just practical, it's survival. Bread also provides psychological stability. When your family is scared and days blend into one another, pulling a warm loaf from the oven or serving simple bread with peanut butter or honey creates a sense of normalcy. That morale boost can be as critical as the calories themselves. Here's the takeaway. Don't just stock bread, stock what makes bread. Buy flour in bulk, store it airtight, keep yeast sealed and cool, and rotate your supply. Because when the shelves are stripped bare, the families who planned ahead will still have bread. And that simple staple could mean the difference between resilience and regret. Item 5. Instant coffee. Coffee may look like a luxury item in good times, but in crisis it transforms into mental fuel. During a pandemic or collapse, when exhaustion, fear, and confusion cloud every decision, caffeine becomes more than a morning ritual. It's survival for your mind. That's why the Red Cross includes it as a vital stockpile item. Think about the stakes. A foggy brain in a high-stress environment leads to poor choices, mistakes, and even danger. Instant coffee keeps you sharp, alert, and able to make critical decisions when every choice could be life or death. Unlike ground coffee, instant requires no machines, filters, or special equipment. All you need is hot water, or even cold in desperation, and you've got a dose of clarity in a cup. It also has longevity on its side. Properly stored, instant coffee can last years. Unlike fresh beans that lose flavor and potency, that means your stockpile won't just get you through weeks of crisis, it can sustain you far longer. And don't underestimate the psychological comfort of that daily ritual. A simple cup in the morning gives you routine, stability, and morale when everything else feels chaotic. Here's the bottom line. Instant coffee is survival disguised as comfort. Stock it in bulk. Choose sealed jars or single-serve packets for maximum shelf life. Rotate older stock forward and keep extras stored cool and dry. Because when your body is drained and your mind is spiraling, coffee might not just wake you up, it could keep you alive. Item 6. Honey. Few foods carry the survival legacy of honey. For thousands of years, civilizations have turned to it not just as food, but as medicine. In crisis, honey is more than a sweetener. It's a survival tool the Red Cross continues to recommend, for good reason. Start with its most famous feature. Honey never expires. Archaeologists have uncovered jars thousands of years old that were still perfectly edible. That makes it one of the rare foods you can store indefinitely without fear of spoilage. In collapse, when everything has an expiration date, honey is eternal security. Nutritionally, it provides quick sugars your body craves under stress, instant energy that can keep you going when other foods fall short. But its value doesn't stop at calories. Honey has natural antibacterial and antimicrobial properties, meaning it doubles as a remedy when hospitals are overwhelmed or unreachable. A spoonful can soothe sore throats and coughs, while raw honey applied to wounds can help disinfect and heal. Few foods combine nutrition and medicine like this. Then there's the emotional comfort. Adding honey to tea, spreading it on bread, or even eating a spoonful straight delivers warmth and familiarity when morale is collapsing. That little taste of sweetness can lift spirits, reduce stress, and remind you that not everything is lost. Here's your action step. Stock raw, unpasteurized honey in sealed glass jars. Keep it cool and dry. Don't worry if it crystallizes. That's a sign it's real and can be revived easily. Honey is more than a food. It's energy, medicine, and comfort all in one. And in survival, that combination is priceless. Item 7. Dehydrated food. When supply chains collapse and supermarket shelves go bare, dehydrated food becomes your hidden weapon. These lightweight, compact meals aren't just for campers. They're survival staples recommended by the Red Cross because they can outlast nearly everything else in your pantry. The beauty of dehydrated food lies in its efficiency. A single pouch can contain proteins, carbs, and vitamins, providing balanced nutrition when variety is impossible. All you need is water, no refrigeration, no elaborate cooking, no fragile ingredients. That means even in a blackout, you can still eat a complete meal. Storage is another advantage. Dehydrated foods can last years, often a decade or more if properly sealed. That's peace of mind sitting quietly in your closet, ready when everything else has run out. And because they're so compact, you can store weeks or even months worth of meals in a small space. Beyond the practical, there's the psychological comfort. Imagine sitting in lockdown while neighbors panic, yet you know you've got meals ready to go at a moment's notice. That kind of certainty kills panic and replaces it with control. Dehydrated food doesn't just feed your body, it protects your mindset. Here's the bottom line. Every serious stockpile needs dehydrated meals. Don't think of them as backup camping food. Think of them as your insurance policy when disaster strikes. Stock a mix, soups, pastas, proteins, and store them cool and dry. When shelves are empty and trucks stop running, these pouches will be the difference between hunger and survival. Item 8. Potatoes. Few foods are as humble or as powerful in survival as potatoes. History proves it. Entire nations have survived famine and collapse on this single crop. That's why the Red Cross highlights potatoes as one of the most practical, filling, and affordable crisis foods. A potato delivers what survival demands: calories, versatility, and satisfaction. Boil it, roast it, mash it, fry it. Potatoes can be prepared with almost nothing and still keep you full for hours. That kind of staying power is priceless when energy is scarce and every calorie counts. In collapse, variety matters. Eating the same bland foods day after day crushes morale and leads to food fatigue, which is as dangerous as hunger. Potatoes solve that problem. Paired with beans, rice, or even just salt, they create hearty, morale-boosting meals. That's not just survival, it's resilience. Storage adds another layer of value. While they won't last forever, potatoes kept in a cool, dark, ventilated place can remain edible for weeks, sometimes months. Stockpiling bulk potatoes before panic hits ensures you have immediate access to filling food, while you rely on longer-term reserves like rice or oats. Even better, potatoes can be grown at home with minimal space, turning your stockpile into a renewable food source. Here's the reality. When grocery aisles are stripped bare, the families with potatoes will be the ones who stay steady. They're cheap, they're filling, and they're historically proven to sustain life through crisis. Don't underestimate them. Stock up, store smart, and if possible, learn to grow your own. Potatoes may be humble, but in survival, they're nothing short of a lifeline. Item 9. Nuts. When collapse strips away access to meat, dairy, and fresh protein sources, nuts become survival gold. Compact, lightweight, and nutrient-dense, they pack more energy per ounce than almost any other food in your stockpile. That's why the Red Cross repeatedly stresses their importance. A small handful of almonds, peanuts, or walnuts delivers protein, healthy fats, and calories that can sustain you for hours. Unlike perishable foods, nuts require no refrigeration, no cooking, and no preparation. You can eat them straight from the bag, making them invaluable when power is down or leaving your home is too risky. Nuts also add critical variety to survival eating. Paired with oats, honey, or dried fruits, they can transform bland staples into satisfying meals. You can even crush them into makeshift energy bars, blend them into nut butters, or mix them with rice for added flavor and texture. This flexibility prevents food fatigue, one of the silent threats during long-term crises. And let's not forget portability. A bag of nuts fits in your pocket or emergency pack, giving you a grab-and-go calorie source when you have to move fast. That mobility advantage can save your life if you're forced to evacuate. Here's your move. Stock multiple varieties: almonds, peanuts, cashews, walnuts, pistachios. Store them in sealed containers or vacuum bags to extend shelf life. Rotate older stock forward and buy in bulk when prices dip. In collapse conditions, nuts won't just keep you alive, they'll keep you energized, sharp, and resilient. Item 10. Powdered milk. Fresh milk spoils in days, but powdered milk is survival magic. The Red Cross highlights it because it provides essential nutrition: calcium, protein, and vitamins, a form that lasts for years. In a crisis where supply chains are shattered and refrigeration is gone, powdered milk keeps families nourished. Its biggest strength is versatility. Mix it with water for a drink, stir it into coffee, add it to oats, or use it in baking when paired with flour and yeast. Suddenly, you've expanded your meal options dramatically without relying on fragile grocery supply lines. For families with children, powdered milk is especially critical. It's not just nutrition, it's comfort. The familiar taste of milk can soothe fear, restore routine, and keep morale steady during uncertainty. Shelf life is another advantage. Properly stored in sealed cans or vacuum bags, powdered milk can remain usable for years. That's long-term stability in your pantry, even when dairy sections in stores are stripped bare. And because it's lightweight and compact, you can stock large amounts without sacrificing precious space. Don't underestimate the psychological edge. In collapse, when fear dominates, giving your child a glass of milk or making a creamy meal can restore a sense of normalcy. That's the hidden power of powdered milk. It nourishes both body and spirit. Here's your action step. Buy whole or non-fat powdered milk in bulk. Store it airtight in a cool, dry place. Rotate stock as needed, but know it will outlast most perishables. When the dairy aisle goes empty, those who prepared with powdered milk will still have strength, stability, and peace of mind. Item 11. Canned fish. When the world locks down and fresh protein disappears, canned fish becomes a lifeline. The Red Cross highlights it for good reason. It delivers what few other foods can: long-lasting protein, healthy fats, and critical nutrients that strengthen body and mind during crisis. Think about it. A single can of tuna, sardines, or salmon packs enough protein to keep you fueled for hours. Unlike fresh meat, which spoils in days without refrigeration, canned fish remains edible for years. That's long-term stability you can depend on when store shelves are stripped bare. Even better, canned fish doesn't need cooking. Open the lid and you have a ready-to-eat meal. In blackout conditions, when gas or electricity is gone, that's more than convenience, it's survival. Pair it with rice, bread, or potatoes, and suddenly you've got a hearty, morale-boosting meal. Don't overlook its health benefits either. Omega-3 fatty acids found in fish strengthen the immune system and support mental clarity. Two things you desperately need when stress and sickness are everywhere. Eating canned fish isn't just about staying full. It's about staying sharp, resilient, and ready. Here's your move. Stock a mix. Tuna for lean protein, sardines for dense nutrition, salmon for healthy fats. Store them cool and dry, check expiration dates, and rotate older cans forward. In crisis, when every bite counts, canned fish won't just feed you, it will give you the strength to endure. Item 13. Instant soup. When disaster strikes and your energy is drained, the last thing you want is a complicated meal. That's where instant soup becomes survival disguised as comfort. It's not just a snack, it's one of the Red Cross's most practical recommendations because it combines hydration, warmth, and nutrition in minutes. Think about how critical this is in collapse. You may not have reliable power or gas, you may be exhausted, stressed, or even sick. Instant soup requires almost nothing, just hot water, and you've got a hot, filling meal on the table. And in a pinch, even lukewarm water is enough to make it edible. That simplicity can literally mean the difference between eating and going hungry. But it's not just physical survival, morale matters too. Eating a warm bowl of soup in the middle of chaos restores a sense of normalcy. It lifts spirits, creates routine, and gives you comfort when everything else feels broken. That psychological relief can be as important as the calories themselves. Soup also works as a base. Add rice, beans, potatoes, or vegetables, and suddenly a small packet stretches into a family meal. That flexibility is why it's a must-have. It takes little space, weighs almost nothing, and lasts for months or years when stored correctly. Here's your action step. Buy a variety of instant soups, chicken noodle, vegetable, miso, anything that your family actually enjoys. Store them airtight, rotate stock, and stash them in both pantry and go bags. Because in crisis, soup won't just feed your body, it will keep your spirit alive. Item 14, chocolate. In normal times, chocolate is a treat. In survival, it becomes a weapon against despair. The Red Cross emphasizes it because it's not just sugar, it's dense calories, fast energy, and one of the most powerful morale boosters you can stockpile. A single chocolate bar delivers enough fuel to push through an exhausting day, whether you're rationing food, enduring blackout conditions, or simply trying to keep moving when your body wants to shut down. That quick hit energy can mean the difference between collapsing and carrying on. But the true strength of chocolate lies in its psychological power. In moments of fear, isolation, and exhaustion, eating something sweet provides instant comfort. It reminds you of normalcy, of life before collapse, and that mental lift can prevent despair from taking hold. Never underestimate morale. History shows it can make or break survival. Chocolate also stores surprisingly well. Dark chocolate, especially 70% cacao or higher, lasts for years when sealed and kept cool. It's compact, portable, and requires no preparation. Perfect for bug-out bags or quick energy during emergencies. And don't forget its versatility. Mix chocolate into oats, melt it into warm milk, or ration small squares as morale rewards for your family. It's more than candy, it's a psychological survival tool. Here's your move. Stock dark chocolate in bulk. Seal it airtight, store it cool, and rotate older bars forward. In collapse, when fear is everywhere and energy is scarce, chocolate won't just satisfy your hunger, it will keep hope alive. Item 15. Sugar and salt. Two of the simplest items in your kitchen, sugar and salt, are also among the most important survival tools. The Red Cross stresses them not because they're fancy, but because they are indispensable in every aspect of survival. Start with salt. Without it, your body weakens. Sodium regulates muscles, nerves, and hydration. In collapse conditions, low salt can cause confusion, exhaustion, or even physical collapse. Beyond nutrition, salt is also one of history's oldest preservatives. Before refrigeration, it kept meat and vegetables safe for months. In a world where the grid may be gone, salt could literally keep your food supply from rotting. Sugar carries its own survival weight. It's cheap, lasts indefinitely when kept dry, and provides fast-burning energy when fatigue threatens to drag you down. In crisis, a spoonful of sugar in oats, bread, or tea can keep you moving when every calorie matters. Together, sugar and salt also make survival meals edible. Food fatigue is a silent killer. If everything you eat tastes bland, morale crashes and appetite disappears. A pinch of salt on potatoes or a spoonful of sugar in oatmeal transforms a survival ration into something satisfying. That's the kind of psychological boost that keeps families steady in long-term crises. Here's the action step. Buy both in bulk. Store salt airtight with a few grains of rice to prevent clumping. Keep sugar sealed and dry, adding silica packs if needed. Don't underestimate these simple items. They may be humble, but they're as critical to survival as rice or beans. In collapse, sugar and salt won't just season your food, they'll sustain your life. These 15 essentials aren't random. They're the exact items the Red Cross urges you to secure now. Each one plays a role in keeping your body strong, your mind steady, and your family safe when collapse strikes. But knowing isn't enough. Acting today is everything. Shelves can empty overnight, prices can skyrocket, and hesitation will cost you. Start small, start now, and build your stockpile step by step. Because when the world falters, the prepared won't just survive, they'll endure.